Once you're fairly happy with your joint placement, it doesn't hurt to double check and make sure all your joint orientations are in alignment. So the way you can check that is by either selecting each individual joint and rotating them by a single axis. So in our case, it's the y-axis. Or you can select the top joint and go up to select in the toolbar and say select hierarchy. And that does essentially the same thing without having to select each individual joint. And rotating again by the y-axis, you'll see that we get that nice rotation that you'd expect from a finger. Now moving on to the ring finger, if you use that hierarchy selection command, you can simply click on the top joint there and press the G key to repeat that hierarchy selection. And that makes the whole process a lot quicker. So I'm going to grab these joints and rotate them by the y-axis. And just to make sure that nothing shoots off into a funny direction, I'm going to go to the middle finger, press G, and rotate. Things look good. Index finger, press G. Things are looking good there too. And then the thumb, I'm going to check it as well. And yeah, everything is in nice alignment and should be just fine for when we do our animation later. We're almost done with our hand here. There's just one more thing left to do. And I think you know what it is. We have to go through each and every one of these joints and name them properly. And it's a little bit tedious, but thankfully we only have to do it once. So I'm going to go up to my channel box here, and with the first joint selected on the little finger, I'm going to name it left little 1 joint. I'm going to hit enter and press down to go down the chain. And I'll name this one left little 2 joint. And I'll hit enter and down and call this one left little 3 joint. And hit enter. How nice. So the next one is the ring finger here. So I'll start at the top again and I'll name it left ring 1 joint. I'll hit enter and down. This one is called left ring 2 joint. Enter down. This one is left ring 3 joint. Now we're on the middle finger here. Left middle 1 joint. Enter, down. Left middle 2 joint. Enter, down. Left middle 3 joint. Enter. And I'm just checking these to make sure I didn't spell out the word left as opposed to just writing L. Looks like I did it. So now the index finger, I'm going to say left index 1 joint, down. Left index 2 joint, enter down. Left index 3 joint, enter. And last but not least, our thumb here. I'll name it left thumb 1 joint, enter down. There we will find left thumb 2 joint, enter. And then down below there we have left thumb 3 joint. And that will do it. And just to be positive, I'm going to click on the wrist, and in the outliner I'm going to press F to find the wrist. Then I'll hold Shift and click on this plus sign to expose all the finger joints. I'm just going to skim through here really quick and make sure I've named everything properly, because it can be annoying later on. And you can always change these, but it feels good to get it right the first time. So I'm going to just say that looks good for now. And with that, his left hand is all finished, and we're free to move on. Now we're finished with everything on the left side of this character's body as far as his arms and legs are concerned. But instead of recreating all those joints on the other side, we can simply mirror them using the mirror tool. So we can start by selecting the clavicle and going up to the skeletons menu in the rigging toolset and find mirror joints tool. Instead of clicking on the mirror joints tool itself, we want to go over to this box here and click on that. And this will bring up all the options that pertain to this particular tool. So the first one here that we're interested in is this top one. It says mirror across. And this will tell Maya which way to mirror these joints, because we can mirror them across the x-axis or the z-axis, or we can even do it across the y-axis. In our case, we want to do YZ. And that way, the entire left arm system will mirror itself across and fit right inside that right arm there where we want it to be. Now the next options that we're interested in are the replacement names for duplicated joints right below. And you'll see here that it says search for and replace with. And remember, we did all that work to make sure each joint on the left side of the body had the prefix of L underscore in the name? Well, we can tell Maya to search for L underscore, and with our mirrored joints, replace that with R underscore. So with that, let's click apply and see what happens. So immediately, we've built an entire other arm and hand on the other side of the skeleton that fits perfectly inside the arm. So for now, I'm done with this window, and we can look inside each one of these joints in our channel box and see that this elbow is actually named R underscore elbow, and the shoulder is R underscore shoulder. The only thing that's not going to say R underscore is whatever didn't have L underscore. And in my case, I actually noticed that in the hand, I actually spelled out the word left inside this pinky here. So if we look in there, we'll still see left little 3. So I'm going to have to change that by hand. And I'm also going to have to go over to the left side and find that in the outliner as well by pressing the F key and name that L, just because I want it to be consistent. So there, all my wrongs have been righted, and we can move on to the leg now. So the same exact thing here. We'll select the first joint in the chain that we want to mirror, which will be our hip here, the left hip. And we'll go up to skeleton, mirror joints. And I'm just going to open this option box one more time just to be sure. And we still have it mirroring across YZ. And we're still searching for left underscore and replacing with right underscore. So we'll hit apply. And just like that, we've transferred a copy of our skeleton over to the other side. Well, to be fair, Maya did all the work, but we're very thankful nonetheless. To give you an idea of how the mirror tool is actually working, we're going to do one more joint here, but we're going to do it the old-fashioned way. We're going to make this joint to control this shoulder pad here, and then we're going to mirror it over to the other side. And it's actually pretty simple. It's simple with one joint, but with multiple joints, it's just better to use the tool. So to create this joint, I'm going to go to the joint creation tool here, and then I'm going to select wireframe mode for the 3D viewport here, so we can see the center of this cylinder here and place our joint there, because I'm going to imagine this is where the shoulder pad should be hinging from. So we can see all these edges kind of converge at this center point here. So I'm going to hold down V, so we have the vertices snap tool activated, and I'm going to click right in that little center there. Now I'm just going to push it kind of in the middle of where this shoulder pad is, and that looks good. So to see how this mirroring is working, we're going to go into the channel box while we have this joint selected. And we'll notice that the joint has translation values in there. In fact, if you look at any of our joints, you'll see that they have translation values as well. And that's because Maya uses those coordinates to position these joints in 3D space. We can use these values ourselves to essentially mirror any joint that we want to. So if we want to mirror from negative X to positive X, all we have to do is duplicate this joint and take its X value, and instead of having a negative value in here, we want to change it to a positive value. And you'll see that that joint just hops right over to where we need it to be on the other side. Now all we have left to do is, of course, name these joints. So I'm going to select this first one and call it right pauldron joint. And I'll copy that, and I'll paste it in our left one and change this to left pauldron joint. Now we can take these individually and parent them to the clavicle because they'll be moving along with the shoulder. So I'll select the right pauldron, shift select the left clavicle, and hit P. Then I'll do the same on the left side. I'll select the left pauldron joint, select the shoulder there, and press P. And now it's part of our skeleton. So let's take a look at what we have. We have an entire skeleton inside of our character that will allow his entire body to move. And the only things left to do now are the few joints we will add for the eyes and beard.